Hello, welcome to our show, Embracing Your Design for Midlife Transformation. The tagline, Come Alive to Impact More Lives. As a tiny habits coach, happy for no reason trainer, and a Gene Keys guide, I invite soulful professionals to have conversations related to their life experiences, businesses, human design charts, and hologenetic profiles based on gene keys and ancient I Ching. Enjoy our show. It's my honor to have my friend Justine Speller to be my guest. Hi, Justine. Want to say hi to our audience?
Hi everyone. I'm so happy to be here. It's great to share and discuss in this way, and I'm really looking forward to this. Thank you for having me.
Justine and I belong to a lovely community called Natural Life Business Partnership. I know you coming from a very like a medical doctor families, and you
Yes.
grow up, you love to explore people's mind and body and all those things.
Yeah.
Would you mind to share your journey would become who you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. So yeah, I grew up in the suburbs. Both my parents are doctors, and both my dad's parents were doctors.
Wow.
Now, my parents are not only are they doctors, but they're psychiatrists. So you
Mm.
can imagine, what it was like growing up with two psychiatrists as parents. But they're very kind, they're very nice, and they were great parents. And they were always trying to do the best for me and to help me on a path that they thought would be best for me. And so they very much kind of nudged me along the path of also being a doctor, because there's a lot of benefits to being a medical doctor, right? It pays really well. It's very stable in the sense of there's always people that need help, right? There's always people that need your services. There was a lot of components to it. It's kind of, they never said this specifically, but I think there's a certain status that comes with saying you're a doctor, right? Being an MD, you tell people and they're impressed, right? There's that moment of like, oh wow, there's kind of a status that comes with it too. So there was all these benefits. So they kept kind of nudging me and my sister too. I have an older sister who ended up taking that track, which is fine, and I think it was a good path for her. But they kind of nudged both of us because it worked out so well for them,
Mhm.
right? And I was fine with that. I thought it made sense. I was interested in science and math, and I always liked school, generally speaking, except for my language classes. I wasn't a huge fan because that wasn't my thing. Didn't come easily to me. So I kind of like struggled through that. But yeah, so anyway, fast forward a little bit. I was in college, pre-med track, and home for Christmas break.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you remember this movie, but I watched the movie The Secret
Ah,
with Abraham Hicks, and it had I can't remember the other guy's name. A lot of somewhat famous or well-known. Bob Proctor was in it. Jack Canfield, I think, the guy who did like Chicken Soup for the Soul.
mhm, mhm.
A bunch of different big names, and Reverend Michael Beckwith. And so I watched it, and like as I was watching it, I just was like, yes. I kept saying like, yes, this is, because it's all about the law of attraction, right? That's the focus. It's like the law of attraction and how we create using that law, which
Mhm.
I had never heard of or understood at all, but it just turned something on inside me where I was like, wow, like this is what I've been missing. This is such important information and I resonate with it, but I don't have a structure really within which to integrate it well. So what ended up happening is it kind of just knocked me for a huge loop. What I think looking back happened is that it kind of like exploded open my crown chakra, because I all of a sudden I felt like so connected and like euphoric, and I was just like in this blissed out state, which I'd never been in before because I'd never done any like psychedelic drugs or anything that was like get you to that state, right? Or,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, so this is my first time experiencing it, and it just blew me away. And it really started, I started like seeing life very differently. So after that experience, then I went through a bunch of years trying to figure out how to integrate it, right? How to bring that into my life. And ultimately, I would say that was the catalyst that ended up knocking me off the medical school
Mm,
track and and helped me like explore other possibilities. Because, it's one of those interesting things, at least for me, where I was knocked off course, but I didn't know what the new course was.
hmm.
There was this exploration process, like a searching, kind of like a seeking stage that I went in for a long time before I landed where I am now. And so yeah, it's been quite a journey. It's been it's been very challenging and a lot of fun and interesting and I feel very blessed to be where I am right now. I feel very grateful that all of that happened because otherwise I'm sure I would be a doctor right now, which is fine, but it didn't resonate with my soul purpose,
Hmm.
in the same way as what I do now, which is doing energy work and being this holistic practitioner where I'm reading people's fields and scanning their bodies and assessing their energy flows and then balancing, right, and aligning, which is the work that I do now. I just being a medical doctor isn't really the format for doing that kind of work. So I'm so blessed to be able to serve in the way that I serve now, because I love it and it like feeds my soul so
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
So yeah, but it's been quite an interesting journey.
What I see, you kind of align with the current transit too. Like we are focused on details, everything, but we are transitioning into a new era. We know everything, those invisible, inaudible, and untouchable actually got more of our experience, right? Other than something from the book is all
Right.
out there, is all the energy from other people, environment, the solar system, our inner, the inner cells, they all have all this different energy flow. So you mentioned about you are doing the energy work. I think you're just follow the cosmic order. In my
Yeah.
mind, you just shift to
Yeah.
where you need to go, but it's different
Right.
way to help others. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the beautiful way to think about it. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know that there's been a lot of shifts in the global and the collective energies that I think corresponded a lot with, my transition out of the kind of traditional and into the more holistic and new age or alternative, right? So yeah, I'm aware of that too. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to just talk about these things because I know so many people have been going through a similar type of journey right now. And I think a lot of people can kind of resonate with these types of things.
Would you like to share, like, through your navigation, why the EFT really stand out for you?
Sure. And yeah, absolutely. And the interesting thing is that I still do use EFT on occasion. It was really the gateway for me into all of this because it was something that I could like latch onto, that I could hold on to, that I could get
Yeah.
certified in. It was very much this like real thing that helped me transition out of kind of considering myself a therapist and feeling like I was going to be a therapist to, okay, how do I bring this energy stuff into the psychology, right? Because there's this whole blossoming field of energy psychology,
Hmm.
where the two have really met. And at Donna Eden's Eden Energy Fest last year, she had the head of the American Psychological Association, the APA, as one of the keynote speakers at Energy Fest. So there's really this kind of like this coming together, this bridging, I think that's happening. And
Hmm.
for me, EFT was that bridge that I could kind of walk across. So yeah, I was drawn to it. I used it on myself a lot and it just shifted how I felt so quickly, right? In a way that I'd never really experienced, that it helped like turn on a light bulb for me. And I didn't understand it then, but what I understand now is that it's all meridian based,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
All the points you're tapping on for the traditional EFT points are the end points or the start points of different meridians, with a few exceptions. There's also a neurolymphatic reflex point that's used, that's called the sore spot in EFT. That's used when you're really, really stuck on something. But for the most part, everything else is just meridians. And it just shows how beautiful you can shift your emotional states when you start to work with your meridians. And I've since learned that certain emotions tend to land on certain meridians, and that organ and that meridian system is really good at processing it, like with kidneys and bladder are really good at processing fear. So a
Yeah.
lot of fear gets stored in those, right? And liver is really good at anger, and gallbladder processes rage really well, apparently,
Yeah.
right? So these emotions land in different places. So, so
Mhm.
it's just such a cool thing to see someone who's like a 10 out of 10 angry at something that happened 20 years ago, do a few rounds of tapping, and it just drops down to like a 3 out of 10 and then a 1 out of 10. And then they're like, you know what, I don't feel it anymore. I'd
Yeah.
never seen anything like that in traditional therapeutic modalities like cognitive behavioral therapy, or dialectical behavioral therapy, or any of the other kind of traditional ones. And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's not possible, just I hadn't seen it and experienced it. So it's so cool to see change happen so rapidly.
As a healer, the role is really to activate their own process. So you know where and how, just to get to the key root cause, other than try to do too much of this, maybe that, maybe that, doing the diagnostic. Diagnostics is necessary when we really want to, control the symptom, right? If we just let it flow, that really just something stuck. The
Yeah,
pains or whatever is not going through, the energy is not flow
yeah,
correctly. Sometimes it's not necessary, it's the spot you feel hurt, right?
yeah,
It just because
absolutely.
the channel thing is sometimes the main channel, they become the gatekeeper that cause the sensation or pain or numbness on the other side of the body. But this is just amazing. We have all this energy flow differently than we see from a person's body, because that is the different level, right? The energy is always flow around our physical body, but sometimes we don't know we have a non-physical things. So from your profile, I appreciate you allow me to download your profile based on your birthday, location, and time. Then
Absolutely. I'm an open book. So,
yeah, but that is why you show up here for me. You got totally open mind. Our head has two center based on the human design chart. It's the head center and the ajna. Ajna is our third eye. For people like you, you have totally open. That means you're ready to get new idea. You want to explore. I'm the generator, and from your profile, you are the manifesting generator. That means you have this throw with the motor. So everything you express out can make things happen fast. Generator also has a very significant signature center. It's called sacral. So sacral energy center is our footprint. Like we are the only type within this four different energy type has the sacral. So our responsibility is really provide sustainable energy for others. Think about the population. 70% of the people around all human are generators or manufactured generators. But if that 70% they are not happy, they are frustrated, then we create this huge collective energy field with our frustration, anger, whatever we put it in there. That's how the generator role is very crucial. But all other three types are very important too. So generator are the doers. We have a power, we have an engine, so we can just run. But if we don't have a driver, to direct us to the right place, we're going to the wrong place and burn our energy wrong. For undefined, we have fluctuation of the information coming in. But if we start to have programming, like when we're growing up, or our friends and teachers, school, and all the different imprinting process, then we start to trap with the certain idea. If we get our intentions to make it clear, I don't need to attach to this emotion because this is not mine, or I need to set intention to give, to be loved, to be peaceful, then we start to have actions to match with the intentions. And you have a wide open G center too. G center is the monopole is only a try, you couldn't push it away. So with your open G center, again, you're such a friends, everybody can put their G center into you. So you will kind of flow through other people's directions in a while if you're not aware, until you finally say, I need to have my own
Right.
directions. So once you got the intention, then you start to build your own directions. But for people not aware they have an open G center, they can be totally rushed out by people's opinion, expectations, and try to please others because we don't want to cause any troubles, right? So the openness, sometimes the human design system is kind of like the sword with two blades, right? It's good, it's open, but also if we're not aware, we can be trapped with somebody's programming. Plus, the energy has been amplified. That means I have an open solar plexus that's for our emotion. So all my life, I can trap somebody's emotion double or triple because I amplify that emotions from others. And I didn't know. Right? So I'm always just like, I go out, it's like, I'm happy, I'm eating ice cream, all of a sudden, it's like, what's wrong? It does because I trap somebody's emotion. I didn't know that's not mine. And I try to entertain it.
Oh, so you would kind of like take someone else's thing in and not realize that it wasn't yours, and then that would kind of shift your emotional state.
Yeah, and my mind get in there to label it too. So that is the
Yeah.
problem. If I don't label, I have this wave. I can flow with it, crying, angry, but if I don't use my mind to judge or label, and will be just float out. That is the normal flow. If we allow the energy flow, because we don't want to suppress our emotions, right? But at the same time, we also don't want to over label our emotions. Because once you start to using your head to entertain it, and it wastes the energy, first of all. Second of all, once your mind attached that, it's not getting out. It's in your head. It just become your records or again. So that two things really want us to be more aware about our own energy flow. The more we want to tackle it, that take longer. It's not say you cannot release it, but is if you aware, you don't have that strong attachment. It just yeah, it's coming and going. I just wait, and they will be gone, right?
So true. Because when you start to attach with it, we start to identify with it. And then we get into trouble because once we identify with something, then whatever that thing is, it's
Yeah,
now part of us and we don't want to let it go, even if it's hurting us, not serving us, because there's still the attachment, right? And there's almost this element of feeling safe in the fact that we have an identity, right? So when stuff gets folded in, yeah, it can become hugely problematic. And that comes up in my work a lot too,
yeah,
where people have these identity patterns where they've just solidified this role that they play into an identity of who they are.
yeah,
And it always protects them in some way or serves them in some way, or at least it did at some point. But
yeah,
then, ultimately it starts to really limit them too in their just like in their unlimited expressive expansion. of who they are, and which is just kind of like unbounded potential, right? Just unlimited possibility that we all are. But when we define ourselves, we're kind of creating a little bit of a prison that we then
Yeah.
live in until we get tired of that, right? And then we find a way to break free. But
Yeah.
yeah, but so
Mhm.
I so hear and appreciate what you're saying about, the mind coming in and labeling it, and how that can really get you into trouble and stop that natural flow of in and out.
Once you know how they flow and how to work together, you start to very appreciate our amazing body, right? We have everything we need. It's just
Yeah.
sometimes we not follow the menu. We're just
Right.
using the wrong way to against us. Most of us programmed to think about something wrong, our body, so
Yeah.
we have to fix it, the symptom. And you have an open spinach center, which means you easy to sense the environments. Then from that confusion states, you become more aware. And that's because your master skills being exposed for so many information in your lifetime. But maybe through being sick, because with the open spinach center, the immunity is there too. So your immunity is fluctuated. It's the purpose for them because they are open. They need more information. So when they get sick, they have to go through all the course so they understand the bacterial viruses, whatever. Then they can build their strong immunities.
Yeah, very interesting. I definitely am very sensitive to my environment and to other people. And you know, you're right. It was problematic to some extent as a kid. I heard a lot of like, oh, like you need to toughen up, stop being like hypersensitive, and stuff like that was very common because I didn't have a framework within which to kind of just flow with it in a way that just worked well, which I do now because of course it's that this particular skill has really served me in reading people's energies in my work and being able to do it very quickly and really very effectively,
Mhm.
and kind of just lasering in and focusing in on, okay, what's going on and what can we do to help get the energy flowing again for a client. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely resonate strongly with that. And it's definitely one of those things that, you know, almost felt like a curse, but ended up being a huge blessing. And I
Yeah.
think that's true with so many things that once you figure out how to work with it in your life, it can go from feeling like this awful thing you've been cursed with to this wonderful blessing that can really benefit so many other people.
The one main reason why I love Gene Key's work because they really just embrace our shadows. Like we all have something we experience and we label them as a bad, unfortunate, or unlucky. It's all based on our definition. Later, we think we need the experience to become who we are today. Right. So the Gene Keys have a different conscious level. So the founder Richard Ra talk about like shadow, gifts, and city. City is in the ancient term is like you're just resonate like a pure crystal light. So you don't have any impurity in you. That is everybody have potential, but because we're living in the 3D, the material plane, it's not that easy to ship to that until we evolve. The shadow is also not just things to punish us, just like you mentioned about there's something we need to go through and use it become our gift, right? And for the gene keys, they have a three different sequences. The sequence I'm going to share briefly is called activation sequence. So the activation sequence is the two doing sphere, life, work, evolution. Then it goes through the breakthrough, get out this childhood trauma periods. We all have some downloading we don't understand, but trap into
Right.
our system. Then we have a beingness is the radiance and life purpose. So radiant life purpose, again, that is kind of being and becoming. We are not here just to show up, do nothing. We all have something we can contribute back to the society. So the becoming become our purpose. If you're okay, I can start quickly share your profile.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so your life work is number 16. Again, I talk about the ancient system, the gene keys, like 64 different archetypes based on the Chinese hexagram has a 6 line. So each one can be yin and yang based on the energy. It's not the woman or man. Then you got 64 different combination based on those 6 lines. So you're number 16 for your life work. And on the shadow, we all have a shadow when we come in here because that's the purpose for us to be navigate here is to turn our shadow into the gift and potentially become city. So the shadow to start with is more like us to do something we really not align until we just couldn't take it. Then we start to shift. And so the 16 in the shadow is called indifference. We not necessarily have a passion. We just follow things everybody's doing now, why not, right? But until you got evolution, you start to activate it differently. But most of us just follow the crowd, doing the same thing other people do, right? So the indifference is the life work to start with. But then you start to getting higher consciousness and try to seek what is exactly your life work should be. So you were going to the gift frequencies called versatility. So you actually found, I become more aligned and pay passion about something, right? Then you has because you love it so much, you do it so much, regardless, you become a master of whatever you choose to do. So that's your life work. Then, of course, doing that, mastering and still have a lot of challenges. That's why the line between the life work and evolution is called challenges.
Right.
So the challenges will happen in the right timing. Then you start to find the 9. That's the 9. Your evolution key is 9. The 9 in the shadow is inertia. Like it's just the habits. Again, it's paired with the not passion. So it's the indifference, it's the inertia. So you are kind of just going through and learn a lesson until the right timing. Just maybe watching the movie, the sequence become the activator for you to start to go, yeah, I need to start to have more passions, want to do something I love to do, right? So the evolution, you start to make your determination. If on the inertia become determined, that you want to do something different, then you start to break through, go to the side of the beingness. To make you radiant, that to make you healthy and happy is 37. And 37 is such a unique key. It's for the tribal energy. You are friendly, you want to help the community. So the more you involve with a group or a community that make you healthy and radiant, with your gentleness, with perceived like a weakness, but you are actually try to bring everybody and the equal opportunity to feel happy. And that's your work. That's your radiance. The more you do, involve with people, involve with raising their vibration, that's where you're supposed to be. And you can get more of the benefit for yourself because you're just doing your right work. So your purpose is 40. But from exhaustion energy, you start to have the solutions. They resolve your energy because once you get all this block out, right? The exhaustion is really the blockage somewhere. It's not aligned or it's misalignment, so it's not connected, right? But once you resolve that, you make it flow again. I mean, whenever you want to do, you allow it to come. Then with your manifesting generator, you can make it happen. So that is your activation sequence.
Very cool. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. And And thank you so much for having me on. It was a wonderful conversation and very fruitful in how I continue to learn about myself and, use all these different tools and perspectives to just get my alignment better and better and my creating better and better, my expressing just improved and elevated and more beautiful. So I really appreciate this conversation.
Yeah, thank you so much, Justin. I know you might have a busy schedule. And how people going to find you?
Yeah, the easiest way is through my website, which is www.tapintothelight.com. My email is tapintothelight@gmail.com. Either of those ways is easy way to reach me. And yeah, I look forward to just continuing to dive into, because I know you sent me those very detailed explanations, right? So I'm looking forward to diving into that more and gaining even more insight and utilizing that on my path here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you too, Justin, from your inertia, become determined healer and also make everybody happy in the community. So that is amazing work.
Yeah, happy to serve.
Keep shining your lights.
Okay, thank you. You as well. You take care.
Bye bye.